Meh. Oh, now you're good. Couldn't see your face a second ago. You were patched.
That's okay. That's okay. We're live now. Of course, we want to see Lee Winika's face. So,
Yes.
gentlemen, how are you this evening?
Doing wonderfully. How are you, Josh and Glenn?
Fabulous.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Can't
Hold on,
complain. All right, I'm lying. I could complain, but what's the point?
I know, right? Exactly. Yeah, Hey, but a wonderful Thursday night, man. I'm kind of loving these live get-togethers, and that's definitely something that we should talk about more. Is that how we want to be doing more of this live stuff, and once again, if you're thinking about supporting the show, now's a fantastic time to do it, because when we get up to 20 Patreon subscribers, these things become more often.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
we've got some really good ideas for how to involve everybody in the live show process, and
absolutely
to feature our Patreons. So stay tuned for more details on that. We're working on them.
Absolutely, and because we love our Patreons, we love them for a lot of things. So
the goal is always to have fun with this show, to bring it to an audience so they can have fun listening to the show, and we want to make every type of thing we do its own thing. So whatever platform you're catching us on, you're catching us for the type of things you like to see. So that's the goal. Subscribe, comment, press the notification button, all the things down below.
Exactly. All the things on the video that tell you when we do other things right here.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm not 100% that we've settled. I mean, we've probably settled on YouTube as our live platform at this point, actually. I mean, just, if nothing else, because it's what we keep using. So,
we're good.
We definitely want to keep going video. But yeah, so a good week for us here at Tabletop Journeys. Had that awesome episode. So we wanted to start tonight with that awesome episode that we had on Tuesday with Jimmy Flowers. And I've got to say, I have to, for some reason.
That's from Splinterverse, right?
From Splinterverse Media, exactly right, talking about his new Feywild companion, and in a total non sequitur. I told you guys earlier about how I was reading things and saying things wrongly earlier today when I was talking about like the alien stuff. For some reason, Jimmy Flowers is in my head forever as his mobster name, Jimmy Fingers, and I don't know why that has happened. But every time as I was typing up show notes and stuff, I'm like, Jimmy Fingers. Wait, no, Chicago mobster, not the guy from Splinterverse Media. Jimmy Flowers is the guy from Splinterverse Media. So
absolutely,
totally different connotations too.
Totally different connotations, exactly. Although both books did kill, so
fair enough.
Yeah, it's gonna be an odd night tonight, I think.
Yeah, we are gonna be odd. But we bring up the Splinterverse Media, a company that before we reviewed this book, I had personally not gotten any of their materials and hadn't jumped in, and hadn't had the opportunity to discover how great they truly are. I have since digest 3 of their books and am happy to say that they are all being added into my repertoire for the games I'm running and the games I expect to be running. But let's talk about the Fey book in specific. I know we went over a lot of stuff in the show, but I did want to mention a couple really big things. The Feywild Companion by Splinterverse Media has amazing things. It is not a book that is just for players, nor is it a book that is just for DMs. Let me just mention a few things. For players, there are 13 subclasses. There are 2 lineages. There's 1 new race, 2 backgrounds, 13 new spells, 4 new feats, 4 familiars, 15 magic items, and more. That's just on the player side of the equation. However, when you enter the realms of delight, there's stuff for the DMs, the storytellers out there. There are 2 adventures. There are 6 encounters, 30 plus monsters, 50 plus. Let me say that again, 50 plus story hooks. There are new consumables, new domains of delight, ways to alter monsters, so new mechanics for that, and brand new mechanics and information about Fey crossings and more.
Yeah.
You can keep saying
I mean
it really is. It's got it all. I mean, we said it in the Lee said it in the interview episode, but when we got what we got with Wild Beyond the Witchlight was cool, but it wasn't exactly what we were looking for. This is very much more a Fey source book, and it has stuff for everybody. You're not wrong. And it's all really cool. I mean, that's not to say that, you know, some people are going to pick some things over others, but all of it is like really well thought out, super imaginative. I love the flowers of the Feywild in particular, the new consumable. And the way that, I mean, it's not just a consumable, but they're also a hazard in the environment if you run across them at random. Really well thought out. I mean, hats off to Jimmy and his team.
Totally.
I can also add that Jimmy made the point during the interview. It's actually one of the best quotes I've ever heard from a content creator, that the goal, the mission statement, the thing that they were trying to do was to make every part of the book somebody's favorite part of the book.
No, that was
like,
really cool.
It was a great quote, and I mean, really achieved it too. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, we all have the things we absolutely love. Obviously, I'm the background guy, and it lit me up. But honestly, it just there's so many great things. I can't say enough. I've said it before. I cannot say enough good things about this book. If you haven't seen it, get out there, get it. It's on DM's Guild. Links will be down below shortly. We're live right now, so we'll be adding those links shortly thereafter. So watch now, join us, watch with us, and then come back a little bit later to see all the links, or go right to our webpage. You know,
www.ttjourners.com.
And you can see the Tuesday night's episode, and all the links are already there. So we definitely good stuff.
And I think, Glenn, the way that you said it, and we said this during the episode too, but that, you know, Wild Beyond the Witchlight is a good book for what it is.
Oh, it's an awesome book.
Yeah, the Fey Companion is the book that we really wanted and that we had been talking about for like 6 months. Like, man, if only we had a great Feywild book. You know, I mean, it's honestly, it's the kind of book that that we have done 3 or 4 part episodes on books with the depth in this book. I mean, I remember way back when we did Tasha's Luanika, you know, that was 4 episodes worth of material. Same thing when the Ravenloft book came out, that was 3 episodes worth of material. You know, that's the kind of quality that's in this book. I was not expecting a 150 page book when we first started talking to Jimmy, and I was pleasantly surprised with the quality. Oh man. So Jimmy's watching right now, actually. So he's hearing us talk
Jimmy,
about
how are you?
So,
hey, Jimmy.
Good to see you, my friend.
We didn't even know that you were in the room, Jimmy. So like, we're not just like, you know, not just kissing your butt here. Like, we actually seriously have continued to go back to that book.
And we loved it so much when we were going live tonight. We're like, we have to pimp it one more time because it was just great.
That good. You know, and you make a point. Like, we so many great things that we got out of this. Such high quality, and it's just one of these books that, like, man, you got to dig in. Splinterverse has a huge catalog. This is the kind of thing, if this is your entry point, this is going to cause you to go and look at all of their stuff and figure out how they're doing things and follow. This is grade A stuff. Grade A stuff.
And I will, without being too spoilerific, because I'm not sure how much of this has been announced by Splinterverse yet. This will not be the last time that we hear from them. You know, there's another book. He's actually so apparently it is no longer in the works. It's official. He's asking us if we've seen the cover for his dragon companion that's coming out with Fizbins. So Jimmy, we have not seen it yet, but I will certainly go check out Twitter while we're kibitzing here, and I will throw it up here because we're very excited for you. If your dragon book is anywhere in the ballpark of your Fey book, we're 100% in. So,
and while Josh is looking that up, we're about to get a teaser of his new book to come, but we mostly focused on Wild Beyond the Witchlight, the newest book from Splinterverse. But
Wild Beyond the Witchlight was the Wizard of Coast book. Feywild
right,
the Fey Companion.
The Fey Companion, the book that he released with Wild Beyond the Witchlight. My God, you know, your brain starts running and it just keeps running. But his other books, you should definitely check out as well. He also has Van Richten's Librum of Lineages, where that he released, that came out alongside the Van Richten book, obviously. And it's got a lot of awesome, great information, not just about, because nothing's ever as simple as the title sounds, not just about the lineages, but generally expanding on Van Richten's in general.
And the themes there.
And their other book that they put out, Potions Unlocked, is a really interesting book that's all about potions, but not from the perspective of just, how do you mix them? There's everything in there from details on plant profiles.
So what I am sharing here, sorry, not to cut you off, Glenn,
my
but what
bad.
I'm sharing
I didn't realize
here
you were there already.
No, it's cool. I pulled it up here. This is the cover art for Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, which is just a great name.
Yes.
There's all the get you a little bit of a free pub here, Jimmy. Some other friends. Sean Finlayson says, "Yo, nice to see you, Sean." And I'm not sure who Quick Lego Upgrade is, but they're also saying hello. So hello to Quick Lego Upgrade. Glad to see you in the room here.
I love Legos.
We all love Legos, exactly. Yeah. So
you don't have. I won't name drop you if you are, but if Quick Lego Upgrade, if your first name begins with Q, just add something so we know that's you. Because if it is, hello.
Well, his icon is a Q and his name is Quick Lego Upgrade, so I'm assuming his name does begin with Q. So yeah.
Seems like a solid bet.
It's a good bet.
Good bet.
Yeah, so I am seriously looking forward to that. I've got Dragonborn players in my game.
Yep.
I have a couple Dragonborn that I have created and that I'll be using in upcoming games, and will be happy to retool based on the good stuff in these books.
Yeah.
I know I have already talked to one of my storytellers, and he is going to incorporate stuff from the
Feywild book. Yeah.
So that's going to be awesome. Some of it is not going to be great for me because I'm the player and he's making some bad guys.
Yeah.
But that was really cool. That was a really cool story, Jimmy, that we should share with you. Like shortly after that episode aired, longtime friend of Josh and Lee, more recently me. I don't know if we should name drop him or not. How does he feel about name drops? Anybody
He's fine with that.
He's fine with that.
Benito.
He runs Streams of Spiro. So of course he'd be okay with name dropping. He's a content creator too.
Yep. Latest Patreon supporter at that too. So,
right. But he sends us a message saying that was an excellent episode, guys. Something along those lines. This isn't verbatim. About the new Feywild companion book. And like I already bought it, and like it got us props just from talking to you. So it was really cool. We loved working with you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, gentlemen. Let's I know we could continue to go ahead and talk about how awesome Jimmy's Feywild book was, but let us move on here. We have some other things to go ahead and talk about. So because a lot of times our show deals with not just strictly D&D stuff, but also kind of our inspiration side of things. We kind of alluded to this earlier, maybe even last week, but a big shakeup in the MCU this week. So the long and the short of it is that we put out an episode probably 3 or 4 months ago now, talking about the MCU's big Phase 4 plans and everything that they were going to be doing, and and I think
all the upcoming projects.
And we commented at that point, like, wow, that's a pretty aggressive schedule, MCU. Right. Good on you. Yeah.
Without knowing where the world was going yet, etc.
Yeah. So 72 hours ago now, 3 days ago, the big announcement: Disney delays 5 MCU movies and removes 2 movies from the slate in its entirety. And so basically what you've got at this point is that the big one, so the big next one was the Doctor Strange movie, right?
Right.
Doctor Strange originally planned for March of next year, is at this point has said it had been moved to May. I actually think it's been delayed again. I think they've said that Doctor Strange is not going to be out until July.
Actually, let me step in there. I think the first article we saw said it'd be delayed until middle to end of summer. The most recent article said May.
Okay.
So while we're not 100%, I mean, I don't know where they are with principal photography. I don't know where they are with reshoots. I have no idea where they are in the editing process, but things have been delayed there. It is also important to note that I believe the current the current Disney Plus streaming, the television projects are at least on schedule thus far. The delays we're talking about are on the movie side of the house.
On the movie side, right.
And so we're not exactly sure how all that fits in. MCU is extremely well woven together. things out of order create some odd issues, like seeing Valentina in one thing before she got her introduction in another, and things like that. So we're not sure what that's going to do to the overall picture. And honestly, as much as I love Feige, he holds his cards very close to the vest, so we may not ever know what was planned versus what is planned. Right. Though, honestly, with the releases of all the behind-the-scenes stuff that they're doing on Disney Plus, that's the story I want to see. I'd be okay if they wait till the phase is over and say, here were our original phase plans. Here's what we ended up having to move to. I think that would be cool, because that would be a great way to kind of figure out, for a storyteller like me, when things go out of whack, when you've got players that aren't there and things like that, how do you shift around your story? That's very instructive. So I would hope they do that, but I don't think we're ever going to see that.
I mean, it really just sounds like everything got bumped back, right? So originally the next Black Panther movie. So, and the reason why this date sticks out in my head is because it's my birthday, right? So originally the Black Panther movie was going to be July 8th, right? And now the next Thor movie is going to be July 8th, and the Black Panther movie is going to be November. And then that pushes the and again, like you said, like they're all dominoes, right? You can't
everything's just bumping back.
one.
And the last dominoes, I'm sure, are the ones that fell off.
Yeah.
But I think one of them was in the middle, but because it was unnamed, it was the easiest one to drop off because nobody was expecting it.
Yep.
Right.
But I mean, this pushes like Ant-Man and the Wasp back to July of 2023. So like another 2 years from now. And then additionally, 2 Untitled Marvel movies in 2020 have been pulled from the calendar, while one has been rescheduled to November of 2023. So 2 years from now, a supposedly unnamed movie has not yet been pulled, but is going to be wicked late. So, So, I mean, I would love to go ahead and say that we are, that we had some sort of like insider information, but we're just really, really smart. And when we saw the MCU calendar a couple months ago, it was like, you know what? That's pretty aggressive, and things are kind of crazy right now. We wonder if that's actually what's going to happen. And lo and behold,
it happened.
It happened.
It's funny you say it that way, because I woke up this morning and I was getting ready and I was on my morning commute to my 9-to-5 job. And I was thinking to myself, I do some, self prep, get ready for the day kind of things. And I was thinking to myself, some of the differences between humility and still being positive about yourself, and how there's a fine line between being humble, which you should always strive to be in some ways, and yet still being willing to say, I'm good at something and I want to show the world that I'm good at something. There's a line between those two things and being a braggart, right? And, unless you are Michael Jordan, where nobody's as good as you are, or currently LeBron James, the rest of us fall somewhere under that scope, right? In whatever avenues we're in. But we should still go out there and say, I do this thing very well and I'm good at it and I want to talk about it. And I think when it comes to putting on our business hats in conjunction with our creative minds, we are at the very least very good at coming up with possibilities and probabilities. And I think that's what we did here. We kind of said, it doesn't take a whole lot to kick that horse off the track. And that's exactly what happened.
Yep. Yeah, totally.
And it's really, all you got to look at all you really got to do is look at the history leading up to it. I mean, it was coming out of 2 years of delays and cancellations. The odds of things running smoothly from that point for an entire year, so we are smart, not disagreeing there, but at the same time, looking at it with as much as they had going out, as many products as they had on the list, I mean, keeping up was going to be tough. It was pretty easy to see.
Yep. Like you said, Lewinica, it does not seem to be affecting the Hawkeye series. It seems like that's still on track and everything like that. So
that also, I think, might be part of it. They put a huge focus on the promotion of the television series to show the story in between, to show these the transition from the B team to becoming the new A team.
Yeah. And
that may have been more important, for moving forward the overall MCU plot than focusing on all of the movie titles.
Absolutely. There is no telling whether it is because the movies got delayed or something got delayed in the television shows that must come before it. Again, we may never know. But honestly, if WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki, and even the What If series, or any inkling of the other things we have to come. And I truly expect Hawkeye to be one of my top favorites. We just recorded the Questies episode. I'm not going to give away spoilers for that just yet. You'll have to tune in. That's this Saturday that comes out, Jeff?
Tuesday. It's coming out this coming Tuesday.
I'm sorry. This coming Tuesday, our Questies award show will be out, where you'll hear what we thought about all the television and movies in the genre that have come out in September 2021 to September 2020 to end of August 2021.
There you go.
And you'll be able to hear what the winners for each category were based on your votes and your feedback. You know, that was really awesome. We had some amazing engagement with those surveys, some in particular, which you'll hear about in the episode. But we really, really, really appreciated all of y'all joining us in that. It was a lot of fun.
And I'm looking forward to watching more shows, viewing more shows. We're going to talk about that in a few moments. It'll be a great segue to that, by the way.
I was actually just going to say,
but I'm looking forward to that for this year till next August for the next Questies. But I mean, I can tell you that I fully expect Hawkeye to be one of the best of this crop of shows for 2021, 2022.
You know, you have said that since we started talking about the MCU shows. Look, I have not been led astray with any of the MCU shows yet, so so we'll see.
You weren't a Hawkeye person, were you?
I'm not a comic book guy, and Hawkeye was not my favorite. So, like, the extent of my interaction with the Marvel universe is through the MCU,
right?
And so,
but even Hawkeye, still, he's a favorite for a lot of people, and
I get that. In the MCU, he's not the most dynamic character.
Yeah, for you, he was meh. That's okay.
Yeah, well, he got crapped on in the first Avengers movie.
Mm-hmm.
He got a couple good lines in the second one. He got a really nice showing in Endgame, and he wasn't even in Infinity War. So
he's one of the two original Avengers that didn't have their own origin story movie.
Right.
So you were already set up not to know him as well. So hopefully the series will flesh him out a little bit more, get to see that family side some more.
I did love how in What If, though, how he was able to produce the magic computer virus Arrow a la Independence Day when Jeff Goldblum plugged his Macintosh into the alien ship to go ahead and fly it, right? Yeah. I did love...
Jeff Goldblum was in the What If?
Yes, he was.
Well, he was, but no,
he was the Grandmaster.
But I meant more Jeff Goldblum in... Oh, never mind. Nice. In Independence. Go with me, Glenn. When I go on tangents, I need someone to back me up.
My bad. I was trying to just be shocked. Yeah, my bad. So, I didn't expect that Jeff Goldblum... I haven't seen it, and I didn't expect that Jeff Goldblum was actually in it.
Yeah, he was.
I was just going for like weird, silly, like, oh my God.
We will not go quietly into the night. Blah, 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 blah. This is our Independence Day.
So just a couple of comments on, so we were talking about the Questies. Jimmy says that he was sorry that he missed out. We just became Twitter friends, Jimmy. Don't sweat it. Next year you'll catch it.
Right.
September is
annual.
September is Questies month. Exactly right. And he also said that he loved Loki. The others had good moments, but they need to tighten the storytelling, a la the former Marvel TV division's Netflix output.
They absolutely do not do the same things that the Netflix group did. Right. I will fully concur with that. These are much more like more detailed versions of the MCU movies than they were a continuation of that story. But listening to our dear friends on the Marvelous Madams, there is
best
some
MCU
hope,
podcast on the internet.
Absolutely. There is some hope that elements of the Marvel TV shows will be in the next few years migrating. There's a lot of rumors around Charlie Cox and Daredevil coming in. There has been some rumors, I don't know exactly how credible, but of Vincent D'Onofrio reprising his role as Kingpin in some fashion, which will honestly make me squee like you have never heard me squee before.
On the upside, that should peek out your mic and it should save my ears.
I mean, he was a whole nother level, just a whole nother level. We talk about Killmonger being one of the greatest villains in the MCU.
He was badass.
Without a doubt, Vincent D'Onofrio, he shows up in an MCU film, that immediately comes into question.
Yep.
He's on the screen, and it's going to be a whole new game. Whole new game. Run out of Hell's Kitchen, baby. Yep. Run out of Hell's Kitchen.
So, Luanika, you mentioned this in passing a few moments ago. Let's go there. Let's talk about. So, just today, Luanika shared with our little group here a trailer for a new movie coming out. I think it's just the trailer at this point. The movie called Alpha Rift. Do we want to try to get crazy and try to share it here so we can just like watch it? I think we can do that.
I think you can do that if you want to bring that up.
Do it up. Let's see what happens. Of technology.
I know, right? Sharing a YouTube. Anything you want to say about it, or do you want? Let's watch the trailer first, and then we can talk about it.
Watch the trailer, then we'll talk about it because
okay.
I don't want to spoil the trailer.
Good. I didn't have time to do my homework today. I haven't seen. Yeah,
see,
let's watch it.
See, I got you, Glenn. Throwing you bone. All right, hold on one second. Let's see if I can make this work. Share sound.
Did most of my homework. Damn it.
So get what you came for. Let's get the hell out of here. All this stuff must be priceless.
There are things in here you don't want to mess with.
Let me tell you a story. There were 4 noblemen, sworn guardians against the devil's apostles, pure evil souls that possess the bodies of mortal men. And the only way to stop them are 4 magic helmets with the power to open the rift between our world and purgatory. The Alpha Rift. It's a simple fairy tale.
But it's more than just the blood in your veins. You've been groomed for this your whole life, whether you knew it or not.
Sounds like you have it all worked out.
What if I told you the stories you grew up with were all true? Your father, that helmet, you, they're all connected.
Lovely.
Let's get started.
Go on, suckers! I've always known that there was something deep down inside, more than just the memory of my father.
You have to feel what your body's telling you and go with it.
Time out.
There is no time out.
But I need a reset. What?
You are the heir of Deldemore.
Put on the helmet!
We tested you. We had to be sure.
Sure of what?
That this is your destiny.
I like the sound of that. Let's do this!
Come on.
So a lot of really interesting things in that trailer, and I love.
Yeah, there was.
I love like the fantasy plus modern angle of it all. That's got me like all in. I'm totally
trying to right into role playing with a role playing store. I dig it.
Yep.
I mean,
I'm excited.
You got a trailer that shows me a D20 on a 20,
Right.
And figs. Yeah, come on.
On the preview, right?
Figs, you know, on that Dwarven Forge board. Yeah, I'm in. And let's say Lance Hendrickson, like, just love him. He's been an amazing actor for so many years. A cop in Terminator, Bishop in Aliens. You know, he had his own show, Millennium, back in the late 90s that I used to watch on Friday nights right after Farscape, and some other show during my Magic tournaments. I mean, he just, anytime he's on screen, just brings me back to these wonderful geek times in my life. And this trailer hit all the buttons. You know, is it going to be the highest, greatest cinema ever? Probably not. But
yeah, I mean, we're not going to try to tell you it's got a budget like an MCU film by any means.
Right.
But just like your stories at home, you don't have to have every biggest, coolest fig and every biggest, coolest map for the story to be amazing. Sorry, Lee.
You just got to have fun with it. And I think that's what this is going to be. This is going to be a fun ride with lots of good stuff. And I can guarantee you there's going to be 4 or 5 different things in this that any great storyteller is going to say, "Ooh, I could do that in my game. That would be really
Totally.
cool to do."
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And it's got summer blockbuster written all over it too. Like it's got like, like it's just, that seems to be where that movie is going. So I'd be willing to bet. I don't know. Do we have a release date on that yet? Or
I didn't see that, to be honest with you. And my rig doesn't allow me to look at that page because there's a few embedded in the article that I read on it earlier.
Let me see if I can find that out. Let's see. You keep talking while I.
But yeah,
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah, we should not just sit in
should
silence while
probably-
you surf. That's what we
As
do
much
when
fun
we're
as that is,
recording
yeah.
and it's just us.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, when we record for our regular episodes, we can have a bit of a what we call pregnant pause because that gets edited out.
It also winds up with some cutting up and often inappropriate comments, but we'll skip that part too.
Yeah. So, with a live show, we get right at it. And so I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing it. The action looked like it was enjoyable.
The film quality looks good too. Absolutely.
I mean, it looks solid. And hey, if they're giving Lance great lines like just the few we had,
there is no timeout.
Right. No, it's guaranteed to be a good time.
But and just that whole concept, like I always knew I was destined for something more, or there was more to it than just this. That's the fantasy. We all go to the game store, we all play these games because sooner or later we're going to get on the ride at the carnival and go to the D&D world and have to like meet a little short dungeon master. We all have lived that.
Not all dungeon masters
wanted
are
to.
short. Just saying.
Fair enough.
Just saying. Some of us remembered to grow when we were younger.
Yeah. I remembered to grow. I just didn't successfully do it.
He chose not to. Yeah, exactly.
Or, more accurately, put all my growth out instead of up.
Let me desperately try to go ahead. So, Alpha Rift due out in November, actually.
So we're coming right up on it.
Yep, and it's going to be apparently.
Thanks for saving us from ourselves, Josh.
Not just anytime. Not just on in theaters, but also on video on demand service. But although it doesn't say what video on demand service it's going to be on, so that's going to be interesting. Again, it's going to be another one of these like combination theater streaming releases. So
we like those. Which is a great segue into our next topic that we wanted to get to. I know we wanted to mention today's release of a long-awaited, eagerly awaited film that is also streaming on HBO Max that Josh actually got a little into. The rest of us are going to be watching over the next couple of days, and we will be doing an episode on at some point in the near future, and that would be Dune.
Dune, the latest incarnation.
I haven't had time to watch it yet.
Yeah. I've watched all of about 10 minutes of it so far, and I can tell you, visually stunning. I love Oscar Isaac already as the head of the Atreides family, and Timothée Chalamet as Paul Atreides seems like he's able to hold his own. So I mean, that's going to be it seems like. Basically, I've got to the point where they are like setting up they're doing their world building part of the episodes of the movie right now, right? They're kind of setting everything up. They're talking about the war between the soon to be coming war between the Atreides and the Harkonnens and all them, and all that kind of stuff.
By the way, we'll try to not spoil a book that's 30 some odd years old or 40 years
right, exactly. Yeah.
That's got
if you haven't read the book.
Books. That has been a movie
and a previous movie release
and a previous movie and a previous television show, and a Sega game.
It is a fandom unto itself.
It really is.
This is one of those iconic fandoms. Dune. If you aren't a Dune fan, it was pretty epic. So the remastering, maybe that's your opportunity to jump on the Dune train, or Sandworm, as the case may be.
I still. And I watched the original film that had Sting and Sir Patrick Stewart, back in the day. I watched it. I don't think I saw it in theater, but I saw it as soon as it was on home box office before it was just HBO.
Right.
But I remember watching it many, many times on many, many videotapes. I may have even seen it on beta at some point. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. But,
Laserdisc.
yeah, something. I don't think I've ever seen it on Laserdisc, but I
Hey,
remember
Laserdiscs made a comeback. I know I had to really be careful with my enunciation there. I almost went terribly wrong. Laserdiscs made a comeback, towards
they did. And that's live
right after we
television,
graduated high school.
Oh,
And some of us are back in high school. No, but I love that movie, and I still remember the closing lines when you've got that little girl with those sparkly blue eyes. Muad'Dib! I love those moments of that.
That little girl was creepy, dude.
Yeah, she was a little bit.
She was creepy.
The fight with Sting and Paul Atreides, all those little, and how gross the Harkonnen warty pustule guy was. Just all those elements, the first time I saw the giant worm, just epic.
I'm looking
things.
forward to what the visuals do with the show.
Yeah.
This reimagining with modern effects and the cult following that it already had to help it earn the financing to truly make it epic.
Yep.
That's what I want to see the most about it. I like the story, but I want to see what they do to bring it to life.
Yeah.
To me, it was always a very visual thing. I was very young when I watched it, so I did not understand what it was. And it was almost 10 years after when I read the first 2 books or whatever. And I got to tell you, it was a tough read to understand the concepts that they were delving into. The basic concepts were there, but some of the other nuances in the books were challenging for a young reader. I mean, I watched that movie when I was like 11.
Yeah.
And I didn't get most of it, but I visually got it. And everything I've seen since was about, but I've locked into that story on a visual basis. Right. It's the setting, it's the visuals, it's the later in life I got to the concepts, and I am very interested in kind of watching it this time where I've got the grasp of both. I think that will make for a wonderful experience. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, totally agree. And like I said, so far the first 10 minutes of it, primo, and seems to be acted really well, and the visuals are absolutely stunning. One of the things that
Spoiler
it's
alert,
subtle. Yeah.
You may see an episode about it shortly if we all like.
Yeah. I think it's coming up in a couple months.
Here.
As Sean Finlayson says, hopefully the giant worms are better than the ones in the Hobbit. So
yes,
right,
yes, I hope they are as well.
Agreed, totally. Yeah. Okay.
Not all remakes are created equal.
No, they are not.
That is a fact.
Man.
And sometimes all the advertising budget in the world can't help when they just started out in the wrong direction.
Okay, so is that possibly, I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. Is that possibly the worst remake in modern history?
What?
Because if you think about the amount of cachet, the rewriting of The Hobbit that Peter Jackson did after the monumental success of doing the Lord of the Rings trilogy, coming back and having to redo The Hobbit.
Did you see Ghostbusters?
Oh.
I'll stop there. Yeah. So,
okay.
Well, here's the deal. I think my personal take with the problem with The Hobbit was too many alterations and the desire to make it a trilogy when it was
100%. They tried to stretch one book into 3 movies, and in my opinion, to maximize profits. And they tried to turn a quarter of a movie into one dwarven song. I mean, for the love of God, it was cool. But after a few minutes, that needed to be a montage, not 20 minutes of dwarven singing. They 100% stretched that, added filler, and that's part of the reason why that
I think
it was crap. It was crap.
I think the Hobbit made as a 2-parter. One movie would not have been enough.
It's a big story for one.
2-parter at the Peter Jackson length of films, because he does make longer films. Yeah. King Kong, one of the greatest versions of King Kong I have ever seen. Very true to the 30s, an amazing film. Yeah. Love it, right? But if they had turned around and made The Hobbit 2 films instead of 3, I think, and then he made the actual judicious cuts
I was just gonna say judicious cuts that he made in the Lord of the Rings. Like he did the same
That
thing
he-
with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
They
he
made
Lord of-
proper judicious cuts to make those movies good movies. Yeah.
Yes,
I
and
love-
to keep the flow going and to not break up the action.
Yeah. I mean, look,
To be fair, though-
the Two Towers was still a middle movie, right?
To
And
be,
It was actually
Yeah.
my favorite of the three.
I
also,
like-
no,
I like
all
all
about
of
the Return
them.
of the King. Nah,
but
totally
for the
about Return of
Hobbit
King.
in particular, I mean, there was a whole lot of how much of Tolkien's original writing included the folklore and the singing and the songs
Sure.
of the people behind it, right?
Yep.
And I kind of get it because even in the animated version, back when they and a gazillion years ago
Yep.
when they ran
Ralph
that,
Bakshi.
Yeah.
it wasn't a long dwarven song. It was instead like a very long rendition of what Bilbo Baggins hates so carefully,
Yep.
carefully with the plates. And they ran
Mhm.
that on for quite a long time while they did Bilbo's dishes.
Right.
So maybe it was to try to bring in that piece of Tolkien's artistic style.
It's possible.
But to me, it felt more like, hey,
just-
let's stretch this shit out.
You know what? That's what your special edition DVDs are for. And he did a great job of it with the Lord of the Rings in each of those three films. And he just needed to do that and make it 2 movies and then give us an extra hour of special features or cut scenes in the DVD. Give us a director's cut in the DVD, but give us the film as we want so we could watch it, say, wow, that's great. And then when we get the extra scenes, we're like, wow, that really added in. Far be it for me to tell a master how to do his craft. He clearly had a vision. He wanted to do his thing. It just didn't land well for me.
To be fair, the things that I'm saying in terms of financial choice often wouldn't be because the person behind the artistic vision wanted to do it that way. There are people above them. So I'm not speaking against his artistic vision at all. He's done an amazing job visually producing the Tolkien world. But the bean counter's got a hold of that one.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Totally agree. And we did goof already a little bit of errata here. And again, friend of the show, Sean Finlayson points out, the Hobbit cartoon was done by Rankin Bass. The Lord of the Rings
it
animated
was by-
cartoon,
was
the
by-
animated,
was Bakshi.
animated trilogy was Ralph Bakshi, correct?
See, they were separate and I knew it and I did not remember who made it. So I wasn't even trying to say that.
So
Yep.
true story. Growing up with friend of the show, Sean Finlayson, I watched at least one of those at his house. So and I know Sean and I have made many a MERP character, Middle Earth role playing for those not in the know, character with those 80-page long character sheets with the 14 billion
So big.
consumables.
So many stats for Middle Earth.
Honestly, one of the most excruciating character generation processes I've ever experienced.
I'd forgotten about that game until you mentioned it just now. Yeah.
But I loved it because I was in Middle Earth.
Right.
When it was at the end of the day, I was in Middle Earth. Don't even remember a campaign I ran in it because by the time you got done making the character over 14 weekends or whatever it was,
Right, you didn't even want to play anymore.
it was time to move on to something else, like college.
Smog.
Like college. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, you start in 8th grade,
Yeah.
you take a break to go to a soccer game, come back, and then next thing you know, you're in college. It's like, we finally finished character generation.
Yeah, see, I skipped that one. I tried, but I couldn't, and I said, "No, this is not for me." And I went back to my normal role playing haunts.
Yeah. That was a tough system. Cool things,
So-
tough system.
Yep. So some while we're talking about comments on the show here so far, some great conversation having back and forth between Sean and Jimmy. So Sean's
awesome.
question: do you think the success of the Loki series was an example of a lucky break that opened the creative window for the MCU on the program side? And Jimmy's response to that: I think the reason the Disney Plus Marvel stuff is uneven is that the writing staff is maybe not used to the TV cadence. They'll get a handle on it over time. So he's answering kind of a different question. But Sean's question about, do you think the success of the Loki series was an example of a lucky break that opened the creative window? No, I do not think that it was a lucky break. I think that is Kevin Feige knowing exactly what to do and having his finger on the pulse of the MCU to such an extent that that Loki was not a lucky, it was not a lucky break. It was a surgical strike in how to go ahead and introduce Kang and how to even set up the what if on some level. How does he take what happened in WandaVision? How does he take what happened everything before and bring it to the next level? So
Opening
was
up
it
a
a lucky strike?
multiverse gives
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
huge avenues of storytelling and directions
Totally, yeah.
that they can go.
And I'll take that another step further. Feige picking the right director to give his actor, Hendrickson, space, room, and the canvas to work.
True, because
Had everything
Tom
to do
is
with
incredible.
that. And Sean, if you haven't already listened to the Marvelous Madams, that podcast, please do.
Best
Tell them
MCU
you-
podcast
How
on
many
the
episodes on Loki do they have?
They did
lot.
one on every episode, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's kind of their format. They'll do they do a 2 to 3 hour episode on every episode that came out in that series, and so their Loki content was like 20 hours worth of content, and it's
in
all
depth.
amazing.
Yeah, episode by
Amazing.
episode. And
Yeah.
they do extra interviews with different people. There's usually at least one interview with somebody on the content creation side of things within the show. So for Loki, they spoke with the composer of the music for the show. For What If, they spoke with the lead writer, AC Bradley, on the show. For Falcon and Winter Soldier they spoke with?
Right. If you don't remember, you don't need to speak for them.
No, WandaVision, they spoke with the stunt actress who portrayed or Elizabeth Olsen's stunt double for the show. Cool. And one textbook interviews. Like we're getting better at interviewing. Jimmy, you let us know how we did. But we are learning things by listening to the Marvelous Madams, how to do interviews, because they're that good at it. And honestly, those two ladies get amazing research in. They find things that surprise their guests that they know. So can't say enough good about them. Watch their show on Loki and you'll realize how not lucky that was and how well planned and thought out it was.
Yep, totally agree.
They've got some deep insight into Loki in particular. One of the hosts, Madam Chris, is very passionate about Loki.
Yes, she is.
Which you'll know if you listen to our interview with her about Loki. Some of her passion. That's that. And disclaimer: that episode has some harder emotional stuff than we normally or always go into. So it could be a tough listen for some folks. But it was really good
but a
really
good
awesome
listen.
Conversation.
It was a good listen.
Madam Chris and Madam Amy do such a good job. They are both so smart, and that they have decided to go ahead and take those smarts and point them at the MCU and do it in such an entertaining fashion is just a pleasure to listen to. So
and their perspective is welcome in our community.
Yep.
It is a perspective that we do not have enough of, and they are our sisters from another podcast, without a doubt.
You'll actually, with that as a segue, you'll hear them in a teaser or sharing some of their expertise with us on the Questies. They come
on the Questies coming up. Yeah,
they do a quick guest appearance on the Questies for one of the categories.
This is fantastic. Love them.
It was a lot of fun.
All right, gentlemen, let's get on with what I think is our big announcement. And it's our big announcement because, man, my life has been revolving around this for like the last 3 days,
It's a big announcement. I mean, it's a big announcement. What we're closing out the month with. It's our Halloween holiday special. It's pretty awesome.
We have
so much fun.
We have a Halloween, like Glenn said, we have a Halloween holiday special coming up. So we here, the three of us, have partnered with Steve Pugh from...
Just stop. Hold the presses. Play the trailer, Josh.
Well, you want to play the trailer first before I introduce it?
Play the trailer, Josh.
All right, I'll play the trailer.
Sight unheard.
All right, sight unheard. All right, hold on 1 second.
This is me and Lee's first listen to this too. Josh just finished it today. I fibbed. Lee got to listen in for the edits to make sure they were straight, that I didn't, because honestly, I spent a lot of time working on my house.
All right.
This geek did his homework today.
Don't make me look bad.
All right, here we
go.
go.
Do that on my own.
Share sound. All right.
Share screen. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Ready?
Ready.
Aliens.
This Halloween weekend, follow us into the darkest, most chilling reaches of deep space for a new actual play miniseries featuring the hosts of the Dads with Nerdy Ambitions, 19 Hits the Dragon, and Tabletop Journeys podcasts. Tensions are high, the terror is real, and you can hear our screams. Be prepared for Aliens, a creature triple feature. Join your hosts for a weekend of horror, frights, and vicious abominations as they play through the Aliens RPG module Chariot of the Gods from Free League Publishing. Each podcast channel will feature one episode of the 3-part actual play miniseries. Dads with Nerdy Ambitions starts with Part 1 on Friday, October 29th. Tabletop Journeys continues with Part 2 on Saturday, October 30th. And 19 Hits the Dragon brings you the thrilling conclusion on Halloween, Sunday, October 31st. You can find more details at www.virtualactualplay.com or by subscribing to all 3 shows. Make sure you don't miss a minute of the harrowing action, and remember, in space, no one can hear you scream. But that's why we have podcasts. So there we go. So yeah. So we have
Very nice, Josh. Very nice.
Thank you very much. So that's I've been getting into like video stuff using there's a program called Capwing that's allowing us to kind of merge that all together. But yeah, that's the big announcement. Halloween weekend, a creature triple feature, which is hard to say if you're tired. With us, the Dads with Nerdy Ambitions, and 19 Hits the Dragon. Steve and
there we go.
Yeah, yes. Steve Pugh and Mike Daniel from those 2 podcasts. And you know, first of all, just a tremendous amount of fun recording that. Having got through the episodes and got through the edits, it's going to be really good. It's going to be a lot of fun for you guys to listen to. I mean, it's now you guys tell me. I mean, we're going to do an episode where we kind of break down what our thoughts were on this here, but you tell me, was it like, it seemed legitimately scary when I was in it, and listening back through it, I'm like, oh yeah, no, they're actually terrified. They were actually
we had actual tension.
Terrified.
You did a great job with your timing and your pauses and your silences. There was legitimate tension you were building.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Josh ran it, by the way, and then you have the rest of us, myself, Lee Wanika, Steve and Mike as the players. So you got all of the hosts for the podcast just bringing it to life, and it was so much fun. But Josh did an amazing job.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
To quote my character in the show, we got the boku goodness in this episode. They had all kinds of good stuff. We were running here and there, and so
no
much
gators.
goodness.
No gators.
Good.
Well, I don't want no part of no gators, but it's very good.
That's
Lee's character stole the show also, just so you're aware. It's worth listening to just for Lee's character alone. I mean, all of us were good, but he was his
swampified Lyron.
Yeah. There are some excellent elements to the show. Friend of the show, Mr. Dave, actually wrote a song for his upcoming EP that he's working on. I've actually listened to several tracks, but he was kind enough to let us use one of the tracks within the episode. I believe that'll be in the first, it's in the first episode.
Yep, it's in the first
episode.
Nice. I didn't know Mr. Dave gave us music. That's hot.
Yeah. So
I'll have to send him a thank you.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it's a blues EP that he's doing, and it fit the character. He had a great song that I can't wait till y'all hear it. Please, when you listen to the episode, and you are making comments, make sure you let Mr. Dave know what you think about his song. I'm a huge blues fan. Anybody who's ever met me knows how deep I feel the blues. And the fact that he really brought it in the tune that he supplied there. The rest of his EP, once he releases that and has that for wide release, I will definitely be shouting that out on Twitter and I will make mention of it on the show page and the Facebook group as well, because great stuff, and it really made me feel this character that much more. It's one of those inspirational songs.
Yep, very much good stuff.
Thanks, Mr. Dave.
Yeah, thanks, Mason.
Yeah,
thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
So that's what's coming up for Halloween weekend. You will hear more about that over the next week. Will be plenty of information out there, but the key to know is going to be, well, for one, subscribe to our podcast, the Dads with Nerdy Ambitions podcast, and the 19 Hits the Dragon podcast. That way you can catch all 3 episodes.
As soon as they drop.
Yep. And in addition to www.virtualactualplay.com, it will have the link to all 3 podcasts right on there, so you can go right through there and get to where you need to go. So, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a good time. So, one more. So Jimmy, once again, making us feel good in the chat over here on YouTube, asking him about how he interviewed. He said, "You did great. Some of the best questions I've been asked. You actually read the book. Some interviewers don't." So, so that's,
okay.
Oh man.
Hey, if that's what it takes.
Hey, we may not always do our homework for the live broadcast, but for the recording one, we are on point.
Right.
All right. Look, I fessed up to the homework thing. Once in a while, everybody's got something. But no, when we're sitting down and we're working on something serious like a review, we make a point of making sure we have gone through the material. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, some of the stuff we get is huge, and we may not have time to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, but we're going to make sure that we get solid information out of each section to get some flavor, as opposed to going in blind. That's just crazy.
And I know Josh and I, we talked about it when we first opened up the podcast, and we've talked about it a few times since Glenn came on early this year. Thank you, Jimmy, by the way. And certainly, but it bears repeating. We have made it our specific point and mission to talk honestly about the things we review.
Right.
We will let you know when somebody is a sponsor versus something we just saw and liked and was cool. We will let you know that difference. And even with the things that we sponsor or that sponsor us.
Yeah, we're not going to sponsor anything we don't believe in.
We are pretty judicious. We're pretty careful about who we choose to sponsor. We are concerned about the mission, which is to build a community of diverse voices and inclusive voices. That's important to us.
Build a better role-playing community for our kids.
Yeah, we want people to feel comfortable doing this thing that we have grown up loving to do.
Yep.
We cultivated our own group and cadres of folks from all walks of life, all different flavors, feels, combinations and connections, and we want to expand that
sanity levels
more.
Yeah.
The reality is that only happens when you are careful about your choices. So we will always endeavor to be that careful about our choices and be honest with our audience about them. So we're going to do our best to do our homework. We have sadly considered some things and said maybe that's not for us this time, because we didn't necessarily feel a given project was where we felt was good. Doesn't mean it's a bad project,
right?
It just wasn't a project for us.
Yeah,
and we're always going to be honest about that kind of feedback. If we're bringing it to the show and we're telling you about it, that's how we truly feel. We're never going to gloss one over. Hey, we've been critical of different shows, different creative talents and creative groups in the past, and we'll continue to do so when we feel that's the case. But we're always going to be honest, and we feel for and support creators. So
and
that's
when
what
we do
want
have
to continue to do.
And when we do have criticism or constructive feedback, we're going to do our best to put it out there in a nice, empathetic manner, as opposed to finger pointing, name calling, and all that craziness. We don't have room for that crap.
Yeah, and honestly, professionalism.
Yeah, professionalism.
In a nutshell, we try to do the best we can.
A comment from Jimmy to go ahead and close out our live hour here. He said, "That's good. It's good to have integrity."
Already?
Been an hour already, yeah. So, but Jimmy's comment, that's good. It's good to have integrity. You're living by example.
Doing our best. Thanks.
That's what we do. So, anyway, everybody listening, thank you so very much for tuning in. I guess I got to not look at YouTube. I need to look at the camera to go ahead and so all these things you got to learn doing a live show. Upside
of a laptop as I'm automatically looking straight at it just to look at the screen.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Hope that you guys, hope that you all enjoyed this tonight. We love doing these. So seriously, we want to do more live shows. We are running a membership drive for Patreon right now. If we get to 20 Patreons by the end of November, more live shows, more frequent live shows, probably monthly, who knows, but that's, but more regular live shows coming at you, more opportunities for patrons to get in on live stuff and all that sort of stuff. We want to do that. We are at 13 already. We have 3 new patrons for October. So thank you very much to you all for subscribing. We're almost there. We're working towards our goal. So if we can get to 20 by the end of November, more live stuff. And this is what we want to be doing. So keep that in mind. You can get the details, check that out at www.patreon.com/ttjourneys, where you can subscribe for as little as $1 a month. So,
and hey, a good way to look at it is, if you like what we do, if we provide you entertainment, throwing us a couple of ducats isn't necessarily, a bad thing, because
helps
us
do
all
more.
This pretty much out of the goodness of our hearts. We are by far not making anywhere near our expenses at this point. And that's not a plea for money. That's just saying we love it. And that's why we do it. So if you're enjoying it too, help support us, and it lets us do more for you.
Absolutely.
And by the way, we have some contests that we'll be announcing in the next week or so. So get ready for that. A little bit more on that. We loved doing the contest for the Wild by Witchlight 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, it must have been because when the book came out. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got more coming up in and around the Fizbins and some more announcements about a live appearance.
That's
at
right.
At an event in Maine. So,
so can we confirm at this point? Are all 3 of us going to be there? We're good to go?
This is
barring catastrophe.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, then I will make sure and let Sheldon know that Tabletop Journeys will be broadcasting live from JamesCon up in Poland, Maine on November 6th. I will make sure and let him know. But we're very excited. James Hussier was a great friend of mine. Lewinik, I know you've known him forever. And Glenn, I'm not sure that you ever got the chance to meet James, but James is the kind of person that would have loved everybody for different reasons. For whatever makes you unique, James loved you for it. And so so happy to support his brother at JamesCon. So.
Yep. James,
I've heard a fair amount about him, and he sounds like a hell of a guy. And honestly, if he was a friend of y'all's and we're supporting him, hey, I'm in.
Cool.
Yeah, he was an amazing person who had such an impact on the role-playing community, the gaming community, and just me as a person. To be there with Sheldon, his younger brother, in support of him, to be around the group of friends that formed around him, and to have that be at one of his favorite things, which is a convention. He was big on cosplay. Doctor Who was one of his favorites. In fact, if you go or if you see any of the stuff from there, and we will be sure to broadcast things and put up things from there, you will see James in all of his Doctor Who mic, because he did an amazing Doctor Who bit. Like he just, wherever he was, people just remember him, and he was amazing. So looking forward.
And it'll be our first convention.
Yes,
that's right.
Yeah,
right?
It'll be our first live event. 3 of us again in one spot, which we've only done one time before.
One other time, exactly.
Recording anyway. We've been live in one spot many times. So
Yes. So we're gonna do the thing.
Do the thing.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Appreciate you taking some time out to go ahead and hang out with us. Gentlemen, thank you very much. I will see you guys on Saturday, early Saturday morning, for a long day. More on that coming soon. Yeah. All right. Excellent.
More actual play goodness, though.
More actual play goodness. Exactly.
Lots of actual play goodness coming. Review.
Yep. Yeah. And a 600-page rule book to go with it.
Oh, good Lord. It's a huge book. But
that's a huge book. Anyway, topic for another night. I will talk to you gentlemen on Saturday, and thank you all again for listening. We'll talk to you next time. Have a good night.
To the audience out there,
and girls.
we bid you shade and sweet water.